Heritage Orchid Display. Singapore has been a center of orchid breeding from the 1930s. Some early hybrids have left important footprints in the world of orchids and have become part of Singapore's floral heritage. They are hybrids that have been internationally awarded, have become important in the cut flower trade, or have been named after historical figures. Some are important as breeding stock for many of today's hybrids. And they have a beautiful hibiscus, red hibiscus down here. These are the silver arches. Orchids pollinated by hen by depositing pollen from one flower to another. If fertilization is successful, the seed pods will develop and ripen in a few weeks to a few months. Just before they split open, seed pods are sent to the laboratory for seed sowing and germination to prevent contamination by fungus or bacteria spheres in the air. Seed pods are sterilized and opened to extract the seeds, which are then sowed onto an agar media in a scientific class for germination to take place. This produces orchid seedlings which are cultivated in other media, such as tissue culture. More than 200 of the garden's orchid hybrids are named for foreign dignitaries and head of states. It meant as a gesture of friendship and goodwill between Singapore and other countries. This is the barkel. Oh. And now I am reaching VIP Orchid Garden. The VIP Orchid Garden displays outstanding hybrids that have been named after heads of state and international dignitaries since 1956. Produced from the Botanic Gardens Orchid Hybridization Program. These famous hybrids promote goodwill and foster bilateral relationship with friends of Singapore. The orchid logo above represents Orantera and Black, the very first VIP orchid of the Singapore Botanic Gardens. And from here, the Aranda, Marcus Aranda Banda spots gold. This orchid is named after His Excellency Mark Ruth, Prime Minister of the Netherlands, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on November 24, 2016. And this is the Dendrobium by Michael Jeffrey. This orchid is named after His Excellency Major General retired Michael Jeffrey, Governor General of the Commonwealth of Australia, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on March 10, 2004. Aranda Abdul Halim. This orchid is named after His Majesty Al-Mu'tasimu Bilyahi Muhibuddin Tuanku Al-Ha Abdul Halim Mu'adzam Shah Ibni Almarhum Sultan Badli Shah, the 14th King of Malaysia, and Her Majesty Tuanku Haja Amina, on the occasion of the visit to the National Orchid Garden on May 20, 2014. This is the Catanara. This orchid named after His Excellency Serge Sargsyan, President of the Republic of Armenia, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on 28 March 2012. And here comes the Epidendrum. This orchid was named after His Excellency Ivan Gasparovich, President of the Slovak Republic, on the occasion of his visit to Singapore on October 13, 2006. And here is the Papillon Nanda. This orchid is named after His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on March 11, 2011. This is the Mayara. This orchid is named after Her Excellency Mary Robinson, President of Ireland, on the occasion of her visit to the Singapore Botanic Gardens on October 21, 1992. Dendrobium. This orchid is named after the Right Honorable Jean Chrétien, Prime Minister of Canada, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on November 13, 1998. And here comes the Dendrobium Memoria Princess Diana. This orchid is named in memory of Diana, Princess of Wales, on 22 September 1997 during her visit to Singapore Orchid Garden. And here is the Dendrobium King Letzi III. This orchid is named after His Majesty King Letzi III, King of the Kingdom of Lesotho, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on 27 January 2010. And here is the Papillonanda, Mike and Karen Pence. This orchid is named after the Honorable Michael R. Pence, Vice President of the United States of America, and Mrs. Karen Pence on 16 November 2018. Dendrobium mati. This orchid is named after His Excellency Matti Vanhanen, Prime Minister of the Republic of Finland, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on November 18, 2009. Dendrobium Andrei Babis. This orchid is named after His Excellency Andrei Babis, Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on the 15th January 2019. And here comes the Banda. This orchid is named after Nambarin Enkabayar, Prime Minister of Mongolia, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on 10 October 2002. And here comes the Papillon Nanda, Xi Jinping Peng Liuan. This orchid is named after His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, and Madam Peng Liuan, on the occasion of their visit to the Singapore Botanic Gardens on November 7, 2015. Dendrobium Joaquim Alberto. This orchid is named after His Excellency Joaquim Chissano, President of the Republic of Mozambique, and Mrs. Marcelina Chissano, on the occasion of their visit to the National Orchid Garden on 27 March 1998. Papillonanda. This orchid named after His Excellency Milo Kanovic, Prime Minister of Montenegro, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on May 5, 2009. And here comes the Renantanda. This orchid was presented to Her Excellency Ibu Megawati Soekarno Putri, President of the Republic of Indonesia, by His Excellency Goh Chok Tong, Prime Minister of the Republic of Singapore, at Bogo Botanical Gardens on 16 December 2002. Papillon Nanda Usha. This orchid is named after Madam Usha Narayanan, wife of His Excellency Kocheril Raman Nayaranan, President of the Republic of India, on the occasion of her visit to the National Orchid Garden on 12 November 2000. And here are my companions to this National Orchid Garden. And this is Aranda. This orchid is named after His Excellency Emomali Ramon, President of the Republic of Tajikistan, on the occasion of his visit to the National Orchid Garden on April 2010. Pinupost ko.
What are you talking about?
Are you talking nonsense?
Dendrobium. I-edit pa to.
Oo, pero masyado nang mahaba. Yung lahat yan ano mo. O, nagdaan na po kayo ng ibig. Ayun, napidya yung orchids. Nataw-taw tayo umutpan.
This orchid is named after the Royal Highnesses, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, on the occasion of their visit to the National Orchid Garden on November 1st, 2017. Biro-biro kanyang orchids?
Yung orchids saan na may bahay? Dito tayo, nakita mo?
Ahumpay. Ni Aquino lang.
Saan nga banda di ate?
Ni Aquino lang nakita.
Saan yung banda? Saan yung banda?
Ijay na eh.
May yung ganyan yung daan. Asa na daan?
Ano ba ito, Ijay?
Ano daw?
Ijay.
Daan te? Daan?
Ijay, banger.
Saan yung daan? May daan ba dyan?